Welcome and thank you for finding your way back to the Mindfruits YouTube channel. I just want to give a big shout out to the NBA and everybody just standing behind it with NBC and Amazon for just putting on a great first week. I've been greatly entertained with all the high scoring games, the overtimes to player performances, like just great ethical hoops. It's just good to be back watching basketball again. I always love watching like the opening night, all the games, usually the first week and everything like that, just to really get a grasp of what some teams are looking like, what's good, what's bad, what's a little ugly. Unfortunately, one of the teams that's really looking really not the greatest right now, kind of ugly, is the Orlando Magic. So as you can see by the title, we're going to be breaking it down. Some good spots, most bad spots right now. But yeah, let's just get into it. So I don't know what to say, man. The Orlando Magic has been a letdown to start the season. I wouldn't say I'm like worried by any means, but the blinker's definitely on. Like, I am definitely aware of the situation, and honestly, it's not looking the greatest. Right now, this team is 1-3 on the season at this time of this recording. They are 4th in the Southeast Division, and they are 11th in the Eastern Conference as a whole. Not great by any means, especially with where they were last year and the year prior. It looked like they were taking steps to just constantly getting better. And then now, with the trades that they made and the acquisitions that they have, you would think, this would be the season where you would see great improvement. This would be the season where things are gelling more than it has in the past. But unfortunately, man, it has not looked that way. I have like a couple theories to why that is. I just want to start off with just the head downward. Jamal Mosley. I like him as a person. I feel like he carries such like good vibes. Like, he's not egotistical by any means. I feel like he really does mean well for this group, but I feel like overall there is a limitation that you do get with a defensive head coach. What I mean by that is, when you have an offensive minded head coach, and not fully mean like fully offensive minded, but just an offensive minded, but defense is still also could be a calling card for that coach. Things tend to be a little bit more balanced within an offense. I find that when you go fully defensive coach or fully offense, you will get only either one or the other, right? And I feel like Jamal Mosley, his thing is like the defense, right? And I do believe like defense is their calling card, and I would never want to strip this team of what they are. I believe that's what makes them the Magic, this real scrappy team, get it out the mud type of team. I think that is great for this team, but I do feel like there needs to be an added flavor of offense. I feel like things get so stagnant, things get stale with this team very quickly. And one thing that I guess I would say that I seen that he's changed was definitely attacking the mindset of, we were a very slow paced team last year. We were 29th out of 30 teams. Let's see if we can go ahead and go into the season with this idea of, we're going to play to exhaustion. We're going to get out and run constantly. We're not going to have any more breaks. If you need a break, you are on the bench, right? Stylistically, that will change this approach of, moving quick, constantly just on the go. No need for ball to be sticking, on the go. I feel like one of the big factors on why he made such a change was that, we know what Paolo can be, as his own person. We know what he can be. But Franz was somebody, how can we get more out of him? And I believe the fast-paced offense is something that kind of gives Franz this ability to work at his best suit, which is going downhill constantly, right? So by Franz having that ability to do that, them just really working in tandem to really get that going. On one end, I do think that is great for this team, right? But on the other end, I feel like they're wearing down their legs way too early in the game, because this year, so far throughout these 4 games that they've played, their pace has now changed from the 29th ranked to being 9th in the whole association. Now, on the flip side, that may look like a good thing, but I do think there is very taxing traits to that. I feel like playing yourself to exhaustion, gets the most out of your player, but at the same time could cause a lot of like fatigue later on in the game. And that could have you leaving your jump shot short. That could have you missing assignments more because you're not really trying to exert even more energy because you're already tired and whatnot. So that is definitely one thing for sure that I do believe it is really taxing them. And another thing that has been plaguing this team so far this season was just this idea of the turnovers. The turnovers, I do think, works hand in hand with the fast pace. These guys never play at a fast pace throughout their all years being together, never have. And not to say that the turnovers is really the determining factor on why this thing's not working, but it just shows that even worse now, with it being 15 turnovers a game from being 12.9 a game. It just shows that, again, this idea of fast pace constantly is sometimes leading to almost nothing. I've seen Anthony Black, I've seen Paolo, I've seen Franz, I've seen Bain throw some weird passes, just for the sake of just being fast, right? Getting passes intercepted and everything like that. And I just don't think that's always the calling card. I feel like you can trade in a little bit of that speed to keep it middle of the pack, but I don't think you need to be this super fast offense, because there's a lot of teams that will get out and run, but they're not running to the point of exhaustion. And I do think that's one part that's really flagging this team really hard. And also another thing that I just find with Jamal Mosley is just the way how he uses and utilizes his lineups. Sometimes it just looks very random, and even with like what he has him out there intentionally running, sometimes it just looks very like entry level type stuff at times, which can lead to like very stagnant, very stale play. I feel like they're not using their best players to their max potential. I find that Paolo a lot of these times is still taking these weird shots, but I'm gonna get into that in a minute. But the way how Jamal Mosley has been using this team is not really understanding the personnel of their two best players. Franz, for example, is really good going downhill, right? And I feel like in pick and roll situations, with like the actual big and everything, would be better for him to use that, right, than using, you can use a guard to help him get free and whatnot, but I feel like it would be a lot more easy for him to use the big and everything to get downhill and stuff like that. I think that is his calling card when it comes to him conducting and running the offense. And I think on the Paolo front, you need to really use a shooter with him in all his actions. Sometimes I feel like he needs the direction. He needs to be put on a tar mat to really, really succeed. He can't really just be his own offensive engine just yet. I still feel like he's still trying to work that out, trying to decide whether or not he's going to be this archetype of Carmelo or this archetype of LeBron, right? Which, again, if I had to choose, I'm choosing the archetype of LeBron because, his thing is to work inside out, right, rather than outside in. I think it just flows better for the game. I feel like it doesn't make the game all sticky and weird and everything. So I feel like with Paolo, he needs to be playing with a shooter, a specialist that will, again, give him the ability to make the clear reads as possible. The one thing that I would say, using Desmond Bane in those actions would definitely help Paolo a lot more, as I feel like him just setting Bane setting that type of screen for Paolo would make it very easy for Paolo to take that screen, either go charging downhill or make the simple read and pass back right to Bane for an open three, or for Bane to even drive at that closeout coming at him for either a layup or a floater or something. So I really do feel like there needs to be more offensive sets with the intentions to really have their best players shine in what makes them most effective. As we know, Paolo and Franz is the two best players on the Magic, right? And just to say it plain and simple, like, these guys hasn't been that good. Paolo, on one hand, has just looked very bland, very slow at times, overthinking at times, just not looking like himself. Like last year, right before the playoffs started, after he got over the whole oblique thing, he looked like prime, like himself. Like he looked in peak form, averaging like around roughly 27 points per game, looking pretty good. Efficiency has always been his thing, but you could kind of tell in how he was looking. But just to start off the season, he's been looking very flat, not getting to the spots he needs to get to. I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know if it's the new system that has him like very hesitant and not really trying to get to his spots. But then also it's really his shot diet. Paolo has to understand that he's 6'10", 250. This idea of being a Carmelo Anthony, playing like that, just with the way how you shoot the ball already, is not gonna cut it. You need to go ahead and embody more of this LeBron mentality of, I'm gonna get to the rim because no one else, either at my position or no one else in general, can really stop me from getting to the rim. So he needs to play with this type of intensity of really driving to the rim and getting either, getting fouled, going to the line, or just really applying pressure to that rim. Because again, playing on the outside inward just doesn't work and does not fit him. It makes the ball stick too much. It just is not a good look. He needs to understand that there's shots time and time again that we can leave for the first quarter, second quarter, and third quarter, and even probably the fourth. We don't even need it at all the time. Sometimes we just need the basic, floater in the lane, layup, probably occasional mid-range jumper, or even like a three-point shot. But we don't need these turnaround fadeaways and all these type of things. We can get rid of that. Your game is much better without that than it is with it, right? And just with Franz, I just feel like, although he's efficient, people always lead to, oh yeah, he's so efficient, he's so this, he's so that. But one thing that I find that constantly keeps happening within the game, especially if he knows that he either has it going or, he's really floating through the game and he's, still putting up a good production throughout the game, I find that he fades too easily. I find that if the game gets out of hand, if Paolo's not in the game, it's like he's still trying to, get others involved or try to run the action. No, when Paolo's not in the game, and even if Paolo's in the game and you got it going, you got to command the basketball. You got to make it known that, hey, yes, right now you just don't got it right now. I will take over as this main player and go ahead and look to really attack with how I know best, which is the constant pick and roll spamming, getting to the rim, or even, doing something off of the dribble to create for someone else, right? I feel like he just fades too much fading away in games and disappearing. I feel like if that changes, and if Paolo also gets his act together with the rest of the team, with their defense and, their intensity and working hard on every possession and slowing down this pace, I feel like this team can really rebound from what has been a terrible start to the season. I feel like that's basically what it comes down to. Your best players just hasn't been playing well. It's very hard to win games, especially in a league like it is today, very talented, to be able to win games without your best players playing at their caliber level, or even better, as we expect them to be going into this season here, as there's so much high expectations on this team. Well, now in terms of the new additions that was added to this team, Desmond Bane and Tyus Jones, boy oh boy, man, let's just talk about Desmond Bane. I still feel like there's a lot of people still saying, oh, this is giving me the PTSD of the whole KCP experience. We have to understand KCP was definitely it's just the whole build of the player is different from Desmond Bane, right? Desmond Bane, he can create his own shot. He can be the spot up guy from someone else creating for him. He's very dynamic in many different ways. KCP, especially at this age of his career, and also what he was really, really meant to do for this team, was just to be this spot up guy that can really shoot the the straps out of the basketball. I felt like that was mainly his thing. It wasn't for him to be this dynamic, I'm gonna play make for others, play make for myself and everything. No, he was meant to be just a 3-point shooter. Desmond Bane, besides the poor 3-point shooting from him, you know, it's been quite as what we expected. Like, he's getting to his spots and whatnot. He's, you know, really trying to create for others, trying to create for himself. But I feel like what is contributing to him being discombobulated or just looking like an odd fit right now, I think it goes back down to the pace. Like, the pace, and with the whole hot potato basketball of everybody having to get a touch before even look at the rim, it's really made him overthink a lot and make him think that he has to do more, and it's making him off kilter and having to overthink things. And I think that's really impacting, I guess, his routine and how he goes about shooting, how he goes about setting himself up and all these things. He's having to think, okay, we got to move the ball. Sometimes it's okay to really go ahead and look to get your own thing in your own set. You don't need to be running this high tempo pace all the time. And I feel like if he just also slowed down, it would help him drastically with, you know, his decision making and, you know, less turnovers and stuff like that. But if we're now looking about Tyus Jones here, man, I understand why Phoenix gave him a lot of DNPs. I'm not going to lie to you. Defensive liability for sure. I feel like the Magic has not done a good enough job hiding him enough, and on the defensive end, and even for the whole offensive thing, I feel like he just hasn't outputted what we were expecting of him. Not really hitting his threes right now. Getting to the lane seems like a chore for him. I guess some other like long, lengthy defenders is just really just stopping him at will. So it's not really looking the greatest for him at the moment. I'm expecting him, you know, being a vet that he is, he's gonna find a way how to turn things around. But honestly, I wasn't shocked to really see, you know, him already not getting like those bench minutes and letting, you know, our rookie Jace Richardson really come in and really try to provide a spark. There is really telling on what could be a move for the Magic at the trade deadline. But yeah, I think right now he just has to stick with it. Again, the whole idea of slowing down. One of the main calling cards for him was always this, you know, turnover ratio of, you know, taking care of the basketball. I think it's also been very rough for him due to the pace. So this idea of slowing down would really benefit both of these players here. And yeah, I feel like as a whole, like, this team has enough pieces to really see where they can go this season. Especially with how they played already. I'm gonna have to try to dampen my expectations on where this team could really end up in the postseason. But I still have like immense amount of like faith that they can really come together, really put something on the floor that is, you know, not only frightening on the defensive end, but really turn it up offensively to where this team no longer can just be a, you know, we're figuring things out to, oh, this team could be something dangerous come postseason time. So that is definitely something that, like, I just hope these guys manage to turn around. Alrighty, well, I think that's all I really had to cover in today's video. The Magic, you know, although they got off to a slow start, I just want to repeat again, it's not really time to press the red button. Don't need to sound no alarm. I think the Magic are fine. They really just got to clean up the defensive end of things, slow down the pace, you know, take care of the ball better. Too much turnovers. And, you know, I feel like the new additions with, you know, Bane and also with Tyus, I feel like that will just take a little bit more time. And, you know, with them slowing down and really getting more comfortable, I feel like they will mesh really well with this group. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from the rest of the team itself. I forgot to even mention that, but the rest of the team is looking quite good. Our rookies are looking more prepared than, you know, than how some of the other guys came in, like Tristan da Silva and when Anthony Black first came in. So honestly, on that end, it's looking pretty promising. But like I said again, you know, these guys really have to turn things around on this road trip. As I'm recording this video, they're going to be playing the Detroit Pistons. You know, Cade and them boys are going to be ready. So, you know, you can't really walk in there looking that, you know, it's going to be an easy game. You know, we're just going to walk in there and just take our time to really get comfortable. No, like, you have to fight from the jump. You got to fight for your right to win in this league now. Like, it's too talented. But anyways, if you like what you've seen here, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.